Hello and welcome to 2 Minute Revision, and in this particular session we're going to look at cards numbers 65 to 68 and we're going to look at rounding. Okay, so let's get started. Don't forget, you can download your free digital copy of this. It's in the description for the link. Okay, the rules for rounding. Identify your place value, then you look at the neighbour to the right and you have to look at the rules. So the rounding method is, if the neighbour to the right is 0 to 4, you round down, and if it's 5 to 9, you round up. So you need to remember the rules, yeah? And there's a little rhyme: remember the rules. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, let it soar. So card number 66, the first question is round 18.7 to the nearest whole number. So we've got 18.7, and I always write the two possibilities it can be underneath. So if we're rounding to a whole number, 18.7 can only be 18 or 19. Look at the neighbour to the right. So the neighbour to the right is the 7, and the rule for rounding is 5 to 9 you round up. So that 7 means we round up to 19. The next question, 184 to the nearest 10. So again, there can only be two responses. It can either be 180 or 190. So we're rounding up or we're rounding down to the nearest 10. The neighbour to the right, which is the number 4, tells us that we need to round down, because the rules are 0 to 4 you round down, 5 to 9 you round up. So the answer to the question, round at 184 to the nearest 10, is 180. And if you think about it, it's nearer to 180 to 190. Let's look at card 67. And the first question, round 325 to the nearest 100. So it can only be one of two answers, 300 or 400. They're the nearest 100 either side of 325. So we look at the next number. So after the 100 value, the next is the 25. So the 2 in the 25. And the 2 tells us we need to round it down. 0 to 4, round down. 5 to 9, round up. So our answer to 325 to the nearest 100 is 300. Next question. Round 8,760 to the nearest 1,000. So we're working in thousands. So 8,760 is either going to be nearer to 8,000 or 9,000. They're the only two answers it can be. So then we look at the neighbour to the right. So after the thousands, we've got the 7 for 760. And that 7 tells us we need to round up. So we'll round up to 9,000. Let's look at card number 68. Round 7.182 to one decimal place. So we've got 7.182, and if it's 1 point after the decimal, then the answer is either going to be 7.1 or 7.2. And the 8, which is the next neighbour to the right, after the 1 decimal place, tells us that we need to round it up to 7.2. So 7.182 is nearer to 7.2 than it is to 7.1. Final question, 7.182 to 2 decimal places. So the answer is either going to be 7.18 or 7.19. That's the next one up. So we look at the neighbour to the right. So after 2 decimal places, the next neighbour is the number 2. And the number 2 tells us we need to round it down. Remember that rule, 0 to 4 round down, 5 to 9 we round up. So the answer to 7.182 to the nearest 2 decimal places is 7.18. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye bye.